Hey guys, it's Zombie. I'm here with another fantastic video. This one's gonna be a little bit of a rant. Tried to put this on the other video that I was doing as the intro, and I just found myself talking so much about it, I decided to make its own little separate video. So if you're new to my channel, this is 18 and up, and if you're old to my channel but you're not 18 and up, get the fuck out of here. The things I'm about to talk about are definitely not appropriate for younger ages. Most of my channel is not appropriate for younger ages, but I know you guys fucking watch anyway, but you shouldn't, and that doesn't mean that I have to change my content. You're not supposed to be fucking watching it. Now that we've got that disclaimer out of the way, what the fuck is a hypersexual? A lot of people think that they might be hypersexual because they enjoy sex. They like it. They're more inclined to have sex when, you know, their partner or somebody else that they're interested in wants to have sex. But in fact, hypersexual is basically someone who has almost a sex addiction. They have a higher sex drive than the average person, and a lot of times it's caused by a hormonal imbalance. At least as far as I know in women. I haven't studied too much about the men. So hypersexual to me, and basically by like what the definition is someone who has a very, very high sex drive where they feel like they need sex every day. Now, that can manifest in not just sex, but also masturbation. And yeah, a lot of dudes masturbate every day. But there are dudes who masturbate for several hours every day. And that's a little bit more closer to the hypersexual on the male side. Women, a lot of them masturbate every day too, but some of them will like masturbate and then like come like a couple times or whatever. In my own experience, I masturbate every day for about, I make myself orgasm up to 30 or 40 times. This is really TMI. I don't know, sex kind of just rules my world. Like, I think about it. I maybe don't talk about it all the time because it's inappropriate, or, I mean, I jokingly like make little flirts or whatever, and I'm a very flirty person, but that doesn't mean I'm trying to fuck everybody either. I've never gone so far as to become a sex addict. There was a point in my life where I thought I was dating a guy for about 7 months, and we had a lot of sex, and there was one day where we were laying in bed and had sex a few times, went and got breakfast, came back, had sex again, fell asleep, food coma, whatever, for like an hour, woke up again and had sex again. And then I was like wanting to go again. And he was like, no, I'm fucking done. You may have a problem. If you still want to go, like he was like for real, like he thought I had a problem. I thought I had a problem after that. And then I started looking into sex addict, anonymous meetings. But it turns out I just have really imbalanced hormones. I found out also the relation between these things was having issues with my birth control and stuff like that. And so eventually I was like, what the fuck? Why does birth control make me feel like this and that? It made me feel crazy, made me feel sad for no reason. It made me feel like in the middle of a normal sentence, just like talking about my day, like, oh yeah, I went to the store. Like I just started crying in the middle of a sentence, and it was just like really not good. So I went to the doctor again, and she was like, yeah, you're one of 3% of women who have adverse effects to hormones, so you shouldn't take them. And you should never take them. So I cut hormones out of my life, and I haven't had those feelings because of that anymore. But it didn't have any effect on my sex drive. It's still fucking crazy high. And it can be very distracting. If you guys know me, you probably know that I dated a couple people, but you know, from YouTube and whatever. But most recently I dated a guy for a little over a year, almost a year and a half, and we were long distance, which was fine. I mean, the long distance sucked, but like as far as like sex, like yeah, we had sex every time we got to see each other. And it was never a problem. But in my previous relationships, I've always had a problem with sex. And it's not that they weren't good enough, or it's not that they didn't satisfy me. It was that I wanted to have sex more often than they did. And that wasn't just a thing in the beginning, because a lot of guys are like that in the beginning when you start dating. Most people are like that in the beginning, and it slows down. For me, it never slows down because I'm hypersexual and I have that drive that just never fucking dies. And it sounds like a great thing, and guys are always like, yeah, I fucking love a girl who wants to have sex all the time. Fuck yeah, bitch, get over here, ride this dick. No, it eventually turns out really bad. And the worst part about it is that it's not as common as a problem when the girl gets turned down. Usually it's like the girl is like, I've got a headache, I don't feel like doing that right now. Like, I'm not feeling good, I'm not in the mood, look at me, I look gross, you know, like, kind of whatever feelings. And the guy's like, okay, yeah, she's just not in the mood, whatever. When a girl gets turned down, it's like, oh my God, he's not attracted to me anymore. Oh my God, he's thinking about somebody else. Oh my God, he's cheating on me. Like, all these things go through your head and you have no fucking clue why, and you can't help it. I've had many a relationship end with having little to no sex for the last month or two. Almost every single one of them. Almost every single. There was a couple that didn't end like that. And when I was a lot younger, I feel like I also dated somebody who was also hypersexual because they did keep up with me throughout our entire relationship. But it was also not a great relationship. Like, we had a volatile relationship. Anyways, my other problem, as far as being hypersexual, my other problem is when I date people, I tend to be comfortable having sex sooner than some other people were, because for me, that's a way of becoming intimate. And depending on sex for intimacy is not good. So, I mean, it's not bad either, but when you're trying to, like, get to know somebody, it can be misleading to the guys. The guys are like, oh, this girl's a slut. Or I have had this problem where I have been talking to somebody for a while and then we end up having sex, and then I ended up having, like, really strong feelings for them, and they didn't feel the same way right off the bat. And mostly that from me was I was drawn to them because of the sex, because I enjoyed the sex and I was like, ooh, this is my outlet for sex. I really enjoy them and I want to get to know them better. And I didn't fall in love with them, like, completely as a person, but my addiction to the sex, and I'm not a sex addict. I never had sex with strangers just to have sex. Like, I had a fuck buddy, but we knew each other. It's not like, you know, I had somebody who I was, like, sleeping with, but we never were in a relationship. I had that, but I never went on as far as to, like, go and get a prostitute or go find some random dude at the club one night. Like, that wasn't my style. But that doesn't mean it's any different. But there are people who also have hypersexual tendencies, like, they do deal with that, and it's like not their fault. Like, you may be like, oh, well, they're just sluts or whatever. No, it's like literally a chemical fucking imbalance that drives us to want to, like, mate. And this is a weird topic. I am holding back a little bit, but that's just because I'm gonna get judged so fucking hard for this, and it's not fair. It's really not. It's really not fair. I'm not disrespectful. I'm not just, like, slutting it up with some guy's fucking girl or some girlfriend fucking guy, whatever. Like, I'm not a homewrecker. I'm not anything like that. I literally just enjoy people. I enjoy sex. I enjoy it. And I enjoy it so much that it's a basic need for me. And I have been doing this thing for a while now, where ever since my last serious relationship, I did date a guy a few months later. We dated for about a month, a little over a month, but he turned out to be, A, sexually not compatible with me, but also B, he turned out to be a little nuts. Like, he kind of went a little crazy in public, and it was just not a good idea to, like, talk to him ever again. So I got really, like, veered away from dating, and I just kind of, like, shut everything down. And then I was like, you know what, I really need to be careful, because A, I'm becoming more internet famous and whatever, and all this shit is coming my way. B, I don't want to date another YouTuber or streamer anymore. And I mean, I'm not saying never, I'm just saying, like, it's fucking impossible, okay? It's impossible, especially A, if they're constantly making content and you're constantly making content and you're traveling and they're traveling and they're constantly having to do their thing, and you know, it's like, it's just too much. And it's hard because the fans and shit, and, like, literally, I don't think I could do that anymore. It's basically like doing long distance. I wouldn't want to do long distance anymore, ever. I say that I wouldn't want to, but I'm sure that if the right person was out there, I would. But anyways, getting far away from the hypersexual thing here. So I pretend like I didn't date that guy. So, but I'm not gonna count, we did have sex. So that was about in, I think, July? Yeah, I don't know. I hadn't had sex since July. I have been on a sex diet, if you will. It's been interesting for me to try and go on dates with guys and know that there was not gonna be sex regardless of how much I liked them, because there's that thing. Oh, Natalie, what's that? You go on a date? Oh, date 2? Ooh, you guys are hitting it off. You're hanging out on the couch watching TV. You could make out right now. You do make out. Oh, what's that? You would have sex? Because you guys are totally digging it and it's like, seems like the moment and everything. Oh, wait, what's that? Hold back? Ooh! It is so fucking hard. So, I almost broke my sex diet a few times. But I was really, I mean, I was good about it. I mean, it didn't mean that doesn't mean I didn't like fool around or make out with, you know, a couple dates, a few dates I went on, but I didn't really get anywhere. I didn't find anybody that's been like kind of worth my time. And I was basically starting to go insane with the sex diet. So I kind of broke it. It was a friend. And I'm just interested in having sex with them and being friends with them. I wouldn't be interested in having a relationship. It'd be literally impossible anyways. But I think it was good to get out of my system. I think it was interesting because I'm noticing the things that sex does to me again, like the way it makes me feel. Not necessarily toward that person, but like just in general. And I'm just like, oh, okay, great. So, now I think I'm not going to go back on a full sex diet where I don't have sex for 6 months again, because I think that was just insane. And I had to buy a new vibrator because I actually broke one. So one of the things I can say is that being hypersexual for me has affected a lot of my relationships. There was a lot of relationships that basically ended because the man felt emasculated. He felt like I felt. This is not what they said. This is just what observation will show and like will tell you. Maybe we ended our relationship for other reasons, but the reason we weren't having sex at the end of it was because I kind of took the role of being the man, the horny, sex-driven man that most guys feel like they need to be in a relationship. So the more that the woman takes on the man's role, it still has an effect on guys when they are like, well, I'm not satisfying her, or wow, she's doing what I'm supposed to do. It made them feel emasculated. It made them feel intimidated, for sure. So that was an issue. Even in relationships, when I lived with a guy and we had been dating, obviously for a long time, I wouldn't get sex. Sometimes in the morning I would wake up and I would not have sex with them, and I wanted to, and I was trying to instigate it, like wake up, trying to like be all sexy, like whatever, rub on them and stuff. And then they'd be like, no, not today, or not right now, or whatever, or no, you know, whatever. And I would get so fucking pissed, like livid. Maybe it feels the same for guys as it feels for girls, but for me, it's like my entire body was in pain. And all I wanted to do was like go punch something or like be upset. And that's how much sex affects me. And I've gotten older and I've learned to control it, or I've learned to just masturbate more often, or whatever it is that I need to do to get this out, whatever it is. I've obviously come off it and like I don't get like that anymore. I'm not gonna say that I won't ever get like that again. It sounds really gross to say I'm horny all the time, but it's not like I'm horny all the time. It's like thinking about certain things, I become very horny. And like if a certain person were to walk in my room, I'd be like, yeah, let's fuck right now. You know what I mean? It's not like I'm attracted to everyone and everything. It's literally my normal attractions, but amplified. All right, so one of the questions we have here from Scruffy Bunny NL is, what's the biggest hurdle you've had to deal with so far regarding being hypersexual? I feel like the majority, like I said, the majority of my relationships end with us having little to no sex, which sucks. But I don't even think that's the biggest problem, because there were a few relationships where I didn't have that problem. I think the biggest hurdle is not confusing feelings of sexual desire with love. Because for me, that sex, when I have intercourse with somebody and it's good, I mean, sex is like pizza. You know what they say? Even when it's bad, it's good. It's fucking pizza. It's gotta be really bad to not be good. You know what I mean? So for me, it's really easy to confuse feelings of attraction, emotional attraction, rather than feelings of lust, of just sexual desire. So, and I hate to like admit it, but it's just literally within my body. I mean, at least I'm admitting this is a fault of mine. I start to think that I'm emotionally attracted to somebody that I've had sex with, and usually it's like I'm dating them, usually. But there has been like a friend or, you know, two in the past where over the years that we've decided, hey, we're just gonna have sex, you know, and that's all it's gonna be. I have had the problem of confusing emotions with lust, and that's hard because the sex just is so important to me, and it's just like, that's why I have not been having sex. So next question from Samalingus. Is it something that developed later on or showed a lot of signs earlier through puberty? I definitely feel like I had some signs in puberty that I didn't really know were signs. I just thought that I was a sheltered Catholic schoolgirl who was starting to come into her own. There were signs earlier. I never really understood it until I was about 22. Kapow Face said, is it really a condition, and how many people does it affect? I think about 3%, 3 or 5%, some really small amount of women are affected by this. There's some 5 or 10% of men. I think there are more percentage of men than there are of women. It's not really, it's more of a description of just having a high sex drive or a sexual addiction. But saying sexual addiction sounds like you're a sex addict, which means like you're going and doing bad things essentially, or you're doing things that you shouldn't do in order to get sex. It doesn't affect that many people. A lot of people have a great healthy sex drive. They enjoy sex, they're comfortable with it. That doesn't mean hypersexual. They might be really kinky, they might be whatever, but a hypersexual person is somebody who it severely affects them and distracts them. It distracts me from my work. It distracts me from taking care of myself sometimes. JJR War said, is it difficult to control? It is difficult to control. I am controlling it. I think being raised in a, you know, like religious and whatever has shamed me into not like going off the deep end. Kato West had asked, how does it feel not having sex? Well, I kind of mentioned this before, but basically lately it just kind of, I think I caved because I just couldn't take the feeling of not like having someone else's body to like touch. But because it's never the same if you're just masturbating, but I usually just masturbate because it helps me release that energy that I have inside me toward being sexual. It's not fun. It puts me in a bad mood, makes me feel like they're not attracted to me, even though I know that, oh yeah, I know you're attracted to me, and sometimes I get that, but it just still, it's like the initial instinct is to be like, oh, they're not attracted to me. Why wouldn't you have sex with me? I have boobs and a vagina, and that's what guys like, right? OES Olgrim has asked, who has been most accepting of your condition? Doesn't have to be specific people, but types of people. When did it start? It started when I was young, but like, you know, when I first started having sex. I don't know if there's been anybody. There was a guy I was talking to off of Tinder who we went on a few dates. It was really nice. And he understood it and like everything like that, but then he got weird and flaky too, so. No, I don't know if there is anybody who I've ever like known that's been like that I've dated that's been like really supportive of it. Like they either enjoyed it or toward the end they didn't enjoy it anymore, or we didn't date long enough for it to become a problem kind of thing. But otherwise, like, I don't think I've ever had anybody who was supportive of my being hypersexual. How does it affect your day-to-day basis? Well, constantly I'm thinking about people I would like to date, or like, maybe not that, maybe people who I'd like to have sex with. It distracts me, it makes me think about them when I should be working, when I should be worrying about myself, you know, when I should be in a good mood, but I'm in a bad mood because I haven't had sex in a while. Sandy Raptor asked, what's the difference? They asked 2 questions. What's the difference between being hypersexual and having a high sex drive? And is hypersexuality the same as sex addiction? And is hypersexuality the same as sex addiction? Hypersexual is having a high sex drive, but it's like having an abnormally high sex drive, whereas it affects you elsewhere other than just during like sex. It is kind of a sexual addiction, basically. You are addicted to sex, but I don't necessarily like saying sex addiction because I don't need to have sex. Maybe I am a sex addict, but I'm in control of it. I've never let go of control. I've never had sex like inappropriately. It's always been consensual. It's always been, you know, with my age, you know, someone my age or someone who's of legal age, you know, like, other than when I was like underage myself and then I had my boyfriend, we lost our virginity together underage, but I mean, that's totally like normal, I think, in the eyes of the law. It's like a sexual addiction, or the addiction to the feeling of sexual desire, maybe, perhaps. I don't think it's the same personally because I'm hypersexual and I don't go to certain lengths to get sex. From Dragon Rana, did you ever feel your sex drive was different than normal before you were diagnosed? I wasn't diagnosed with being hypersexual. I was diagnosed with being, having adverse reactions to hormones in my body, which are a big factor in why I have a high sex drive, a higher than normal sex drive. I did realize that there was something wrong, but there was something else wrong with my body with the birth control, so then that's kind of what prompted it. It's not like I'm going to fucking somebody left and right. And even if I wanted to, and it was like to consensual and like every party was privy to whatever was going on, there was nobody cheating, like whatever. You could do whatever the fuck you wanted. But that's not what I'm doing. I literally just am driven by sex and it sucks. I mean, it's great, but it sucks. This has been way too much information and I apologize. But I don't, because somebody needs to talk about it, right?